Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters. So, we did these solo stories when it first came out, and fairly quickly, uh, what is it, Konami? Yeah, I think it is Konami, has already added some more solo stories, so I want to check those out. There may be just one new one, there may be two. Um, Suffice it to say, through more struggle than I really liked, I was able to complete all of the solo stories up until this point. And it does seem like what they're trying to do is give more of these solo elements so that a new player, which pretty much at this point, everybody's a new player. This is in the middle of season 2 that I'm recording this. So it gives basically all the new players some basic starter decks to pick from, and having potentially a way to earn quite a few starter decks. How many actually did it actually boil down to? Let's see. Attempt 1, obviously I made by myself, and you start the game given a choice of 3 starter decks. And then Rage of Cypher I bought, and this Zodiac Tri-Brigade is someone I'm trying to build, but I don't have enough decks. The rest of these, I think, were pretty much given to me. Maybe 2 of these were bought in the shop. So, yeah. Because I bought Rage of Cypher, Magician of Pendulum, and Recontract Universe, and I bought it 3 times to get 3 copies of every card in those decks, which is maybe a little excessive. I am still iffy about recovering 5,000 gems to whenever there is a new expansion and a new set of cards, because I'd like to get like 50 packs and use 5,000 gems, but I'm not sure. There's always going to be an easy way to do that. But yeah, you very easily, if you didn't do the solo modes, would just have one starter deck, and that would be about as much as you could have without spending real world money, because you wouldn't, without solo mode, really be able to get a bunch of the unlimited rewards, to get more in-game currency to open packs or anything like that. So we have Enforcers of Justice being added. They also have SP Deck Challenge, which I assume is just solo play deck challenge, and it does something very different. Instead of telling a story here, and that's going to mean basically there's not the greatest of reason to even show off doing this, because I could just do this as I get daily quests. There's no narrative here, or at the very least the narrative is kind of weird, because it seems to be like they are echoing the people that Yugi in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime fought, because here you have Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth and Parasite Paranoid, and then you have for a Kairyu-Shin Torrential Tribute. I don't really recognize those, but then Barrel Dragon, and then Harpy, a Chandler, and then Toon Kingdom. So that feels like that is somewhat echoing the events of the first season of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cartoon, in which you end up fighting Pegasus. And then you start to, from Toon Kingdom, you start to have like Destiny board, and then the Winged Dragon of Ra, and that's like closer to later systems, later series of memorable events of Yu-Gi-Oh! The first Yu-Gi-Oh! Cartoon. I don't think Dark Spellion, though, is outside of the first cartoon series either. Also, these duels give you really good decks and mostly focus around polymerization, and polymerization was supposed to be the only way you could get something out of your extras deck originally, and now it is basically never even used. So suffice it to say, that is a very different experience compared to the other solo experiences. But because you get daily quests that want you to play solo play, it makes a lot of sense to just leave that behind. Let's do Enforcers of Justice, though. This, I assume, is going to stay in a more traditional level. That being said, much like the previous solo mode, it looks like there's a decent amount of duels here. And in the previous single player expansion, it was actually quite a hassle to get victories on these leader duels, particularly with the loner decks I was given, whereas using my Exodia deck, it is just a time waster, because eventually the Exodia deck will win. It just has to lose like 50 or 60 times first, so it's hardly a very good deck. But we are getting a scenario and actual story. These stories are interesting in that they talk about the cards. Sword in hand, clad in armor, body adorned in robes. I guess I have to click forward. We still are also getting the weird dots up here. I have no idea why Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel does that. I can only assume it is literally just bad programming on Konami's part. Some like incredibly bad programming. Unless it is some kind of weird copyright detection pattern that I've never heard of. I just finished Shadowverse's solo story mode, and in comparison, Shadowverse's solo story mode is way too long and way too convoluted, with way too many characters and way too many elements and way too many different universes and timelines start coming into it at the point where I stopped doing the solo mode. And all of the single player story mode in Shadowverse has basically no connection to the actual game you're playing, as far as a collectible card game. And there is a danger, certainly, of these solo modes doing that also, and that's why they keep these scenarios short and tight. Like, Shadowverse was effectively a 30-hour visual novel being crammed into a collectible card game. These scenarios are barely 3 sentences. All shine brightly like platinum, the heroic platoon's display of power. They're known as the Lightsworn. From whence did they come, and for what do they fight? The wishes of those praying for peace, the cries of the suffering under tyranny, innocent tears of the children. See, really, it's barely much more flavor text than you would see on a card, and it probably is the exact same flavor text that would be on the back of a Lightsworn expansion pack of real-world cards. They appear suddenly, an army of light breaking through the barrier of space and time. To each they aid, their justice embodies a different form. Some see a knight in a shifting armor, others see a graceful wizard. You know what's funny too, also, Shadowverse reuses a lot of animation, and we see a little bit of that here. Like these light rays are probably an animation that will get reused by Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Masters over and over again over the years. But even at that, in each of these scenarios we've gotten custom background art, and it's been used very sparingly. And then you see these cards with these custom 2D art characters that I think pretty much aren't going to show up anywhere else. I wouldn't be surprised if these end up as something you could earn as monster art for your background, and then you have the card art. I will argue though that it would be nice if there was an alternate form, and this is something Magic the Gathering started doing, is they would make limited edition, really expensive versions of cards that were just full borderless art, and they got rid of the text, and you effectively would have to know what the text is to play the card, or the text would even be on the background, particularly if you're playing with sleeves like most card games are. Most professional people and even most new players play with card sleeves if they don't double sleeve. So it would be fine for collectible card games to just start putting all the text on the back and having full art on the front. Of course, you might want small things like the attack and defense, but there's definitely a lot of flavor text and explanation text that could be gotten rid of. Sorry, I'm not really paying attention here. Still others see a divine angel or a dragon so great it eclipses the mountain in a single wing, they claim. This is an odd story because effectively they're saying there's this one godlike creature, and yet people have seen it as at least 4 different things. That feels like that would be 4 different godlike creatures, not one. That does happen certainly over the course of history, in which polytheistic beliefs and religions take multiple gods and start merging them as one and say they are the same thing. Regardless of the form the enforcers take, their mission is unchanging. After annihilating the wicked, they vanish without a trace. They live in the radiant realm of light. You can see here, while the sun effect and sparkle effects may get reused quite a bit, we once again have a different background art. If anything, this background art might be the breadth and width of the kind of card art they have in their they have to use, in that they can make a background look fairly good, although it is kind of blurred with some fog effects, whereas this same art could very possibly be squeezed down to be just an image on a card. In a world existing in another place of space-time, they continually train in preparation for dispensing justice. It's very kid-friendly type story there. And we've got a new card because of that. And then they use that card background art as the background. I will also say, compared to Shadowverse's way of telling a solo scenario or story, I love how obviously linear these paths are. Instead of it, and Shadowverse just kind of jumps all around in a pretty bad interface that they've not improved upon. And you could probably improve upon this interface a little bit, but it works. It probably doesn't work as well as you would hope for a cell phone, though. Let's do this practice. Yeah, I suppose this is the one sequence you see the most, and it happens so briefly, it's easily forgotten. What makes Lightsworn deck unique? A deck filled with monsters with high attack and useful effects, but you must send a few cards from your deck to the graveyard during each of your end phases. Make sure you settle the duel before running out of cards to draw. If you can fill your graveyard with 4 or more Lightsworn monsters with different names quickly, you'll be able to bring out the ace monster, Judgment Dragon. This monster has an effect that allows you to destroy all other cards on the field at the cost of 1,000 life points, which is a better scenario than 2,000 life points, which is the deck I've been using. It costs you summon a character that could destroy everything on the field for 2,000. Set up everything to special summon Judgment Dragon and win this turn. Activate Solar Recharge. What is Solar Recharge going to do? Discard 1 Lightsworn monsters, draw 2 cards, and send the top 2 to the graveyard. So let's discard that. And that puts this back on the field. Tribute summon Celestial Lightsworn Angel and destroy opponent's monster using its effect. Alright. This is so easy to do these scenarios without paying attention. Arguably, there might be a better way to explain this. Have a little bit more text. And now 4 types of Lightsworn monsters in this graveyard special summon the dragon. Attack your life points directly, don't special summon anything, even though you can. Of course, they set his life only at 5,000, so you would win in 1 turn. Where it's a little bit more difficult to get a 1-turn victory. But not crazy. I've played about a month's worth more of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and it's still very often that I lose in 1 turn. And they're still using these secondary resources, which I just feel like that's a huge mistake. This is the card we will win. If we do win, which the odds are high there. They've adjusted the way the ladder works in multiplayer playing too. It still, I think, needs some adjustment, but now you fall back to like the lowest level of the previous tier when at the end of a season, which gives you the opportunity to then work your way up that previous tier and use that to your advantage as a way of gaining rewards. That one we don't want to take. Take this one, I guess. I feel like they've kind of left me just figuring out what to do. Let's see. I think I'm supposed to activate this effect. And I think that's what I was supposed to focus on, is sending things to the graveyard. You can send this card from your hand to graveyard. Let's not do it this time because we're gonna win anyways. I think I need the dragon, though. Spiritual Swords of Revealing Light. Pay 1,000 to activate this. Yeah, let's do this, I guess. And go ahead and do this since he's ending his turn. Then special summon that to the field. Let's see what Lightsworn Saber does. Let's see what we could special summon here. Not much of anything. Activate this. Put it here. Put it here. Let's just, I guess, go ahead and summon that. And go ahead and activate this effect. And it does just seem like what's going to happen here is instead of summoning the dragon or doing anything particularly fancy, I'm going to just have powered enough characters to win in a more natural way. Alright. 26, 26, 3,000. Let's do that. By getting rid of these two cards, I won't discard too many cards. And yeah, that should save us losing too many cards. Because he has like 31 at the moment, and I'm down to 17. May actually be losing more cards. And this is a 2. Two-star card. I guess we leave it at that. What does this do? Not gonna quite win here, but almost certainly am going to win. They may have learned their lesson and are going to try and keep future single player modes fairly simple. Like, they really shouldn't be that hard, because that's just going to waste people's time playing the solo player mode when they need as much they need as much time as possible playing the multiplayer. They need as many people playing the multiplayer as possible instead of splitting the player base. And I'm trying to do two things at once and I don't have time for that. Like trying to play on my phone at the same time, that's not gonna work. I'm just gonna leave everything here, move over to the final battle mode. I don't think you get any bonus for exactly the right amount, but I'm not sure you get any bonus playing solo play mode anyways. In the multiplayer mode you get rewards and experience for doing over 4,000. And see, this certainly would be the point where it starts to get a little bit more difficult. And I'd be very shocked if I couldn't unlock gates. But these will be the real ones. Unfortunately, I'm not expecting too much as far as getting these done with my own decks. And it's not particularly fun to show off, or it's not particularly even helpful or informative to show off that I've gotten these random cards to make an Exodia deck, and sometimes on rare occasion that deck wins. the Zodiac Tri-Brigade deck is the deck that is suggested as far as a top tier playable playable card or playable deck, but I don't have all the cards needed, nor do I have enough crafting points to get the cards I need, and probably won't have what I need until the next expansion happens. Guess I'm gonna select this. Let's see. Then do this. Then this. I guess we tribute that. And I guess we'll activate this effect. Cool. Let's see what this does. Not really reading what these cards do. So I'm probably boning this up pretty horribly. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy loses his 3,000 attack before I can actually attack. Yep. That is exactly what just happened. Okay. That field spell lets me summon 2 things. I guess we'll summon this. No, I don't want to return a card to the hand. Darn it. And that is why you read the cards. I'm basically just goofing around here, trying to activate everything that one could possibly activate. Can't summon anything. And on a certain level, it would make sense to just activate everything and learn what the cards do, but the problem is Yu-Gi-Oh! Has 10,000 cards, so if you did remember what this card did, you would, I think, fairly quickly forget it as you learn what the next card does. Let's activate this. Special summon? Okay. And destroy. This guy's gaining counters and getting stronger. Is he going to twist? That would be my question, certainly. trying to move very quickly. And yeah, only other thing I could do is possibly summon that, and I don't think there's a value in that. Let's attack with this one. And sure, direct attack with that. I lucked out. I thought this was just going to attack it. I didn't think it was going to send it off and banish it. When your opponent activates a card or effect, we can negate it by returning something here. Then we can special summon this back on the field. Moving his cards around. Probably only helping him, really. And see, according to the audio, I'm about to lose horribly here. And I guess they somewhat right about that. Yep. Which really is a case, once again, of me snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Like, it's kind of obvious that if I read the cards a little bit better, knew the cards a little bit better, I wouldn't have left so many opportunities for the opponents to set themselves up for victory like this. Might be able to turn this back around. Let's see if this lets me summon something. Nope, I just set myself up for failure. Unless there's something magical I can activate here. So I would say it does feel like they're dancing that delicate balance pretty well by giving you these branching paths that you don't have to really complete to get to the end goal, which in this case only is going to give you cards instead of a full deck. It would be nice if every single one of these solo expansions gave you a full deck. So that this is going to leave me a couple more things that I can work on. And I don't really have to spend extra time working on them because I know I'm going to get daily quests. And as long as I have daily quests, it's going to make a decent amount of sense to just do those daily quests during my regular live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Although, frankly, it takes up so much time just playing the regular multiplayer ranked matches. That's a bit of a struggle. Let's see the rest of the story, or the next part of the story. Though the Lightsworn possess the ultimate power, sometimes even for them the evils that appear are too great. When an enemy is too fierce, they have no choice but to give up on... Have they no choice but to give up on justice? That is not an option. Deep within the realm of light lies a tightly sealed treasure chest. When a mighty enemy appears, the treasure box heavy lids opens. Neatly folded robes of black await a warrior of justice. Possessing the power of darkness, therein slumbers the twilight cloth. So all these light-sworn good characters, if they have to all of a sudden start wearing twilight cloth, which is apparently dark power. When adorned by a light sworn, here you have completely new character art and new cards. The Warriors of Justice is imbued with both the powers of light and darkness. They who wear the twilight cloth show no mercy to the forces of evil. Joining forces with the Black Punishment Dragon, those warriors will not relent in their onslaught until all wickedness is vanished from the world. Seems kind of weird that they would even call it Twilight Cloth then. And this is the cards we got. They just give you 3 copies of cards. Sure doesn't feel like a lot, but I guess it's might be more than I think. Because if it's 3 of the 3 good cards, is a big difference between 3 generic, no longer playable Yu-Gi-Oh cards. While very little cards are banned in Yu-Gi-Oh, relatively speaking, there's plenty of cards that just you could never actually win with because they're too weak and too generic. What makes Twilight Sworn deck unique? Twilight Sworn monsters have effects that send cards from the deck to the graveyard whenever a Light Sworn monster effect is activated. Planning the timing at which you activate these effects to pull off some deadly graveyard-based strategies. You can also use the effects to banish one Light Sworn monster. When you have 4 or more banished Light Sworn monsters with different names, you can special summon Punishment Dragon. I did see a collectible card game, a very minor collectible card game, I don't even remember the name, where each of the characters' colors related to a part on the field very directly. So a light character, for instance, was all about drawing from the deck, where dark would have been all about the graveyard. And then there was like red, yellow, earth, fire, air, and water that affected other parts of the field also. It was an interesting idea, but probably doesn't give enough variety for many years of an active fan base on those types of card games. I don't stray too far from the standard way you would expect to see a collectible card game. I expect to see a monster field, possibly a spell trap field, although Hearthstone didn't even really have that. I expect to see a hand, a deck you draw from, probably an extra deck, and a graveyard. If these elements were extremely different or missing, it would feel like a very different type of game that would be hard to compare to other collectible card games. But arguably there is a theoretical game out there that is a collectible card game that plays completely differently. I've just not seen anyone become popular, and you need that player base. Or at least you used to before you could make digital collectible card games. Now, you only need a small player base. Anyways, back to the game. To set up everything, to special summon Punishment Dragon and win this turn, first normal summon Rico, Twilight Sworn Fighter, and activate its effect. Alright, so summon this, activate its effect, summon, banish that card, to banish that card, Then now activate Solar Recharge, which will discard this card to draw 2 more, which then summons it anyways. Because that was a Light Thorn, this one discarded another card. Activate the effect of Twilight Dragon's card sent to the graveyard. Which lets Punishment Dragon be summoned to your hand. Now there are 4 types of banished Lightsworn monsters. Special summon Punishment Dragon. That should be enough. And attack the life points directly at this point. Don't activate this effect or special summon anything or place any traps. If anything, a lot of these scenarios and tutorials probably teach the value, particularly in Yu-Gi-Oh, of not wasting your time placing traps, or like placing traps too much and then finding that your opponent will then just destroy your trap before you can even activate it. Like, holding more cards in your hands probably does have more value than I think it does. And then we have another duel with another loner deck and another reward card that we will get. But you're not getting a full deck. So I think it is worth pointing out that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. At best, I could see you maybe are getting 8 copies of cards. If you were actually getting 10 different cards in sets of 3, and you added all of those cards together manually, then you would have a deck you could build. But there seems like there would be a fairly high reason to well, I guess you banish this. Yep. It feels like there would be a very good reason to have something like a deck recipe handed to you at the beginning of a scenario. If the idea was, by completing all the duels and challenges in this scenario, you will have all the cards necessary for that deck recipe. And at a certain level, you could certainly give away deck recipes as a concept for free. Like, if you're copying a deck recipe from a random person, a random multiplayer player, you're getting them for free anyways. Or if you're going to a website to get a deck recipe, that you're getting it for free anyway. So it would make a lot of sense for all of these scenarios to at least start with that, even if it's not going to give you the cards you actually need, or if it's going to only give you some of the cards. It's only going to give you like the neutral cards, or the normal cards, or the rare cards, but none of the ultra rares or super rares. Well, this is going pretty terribly, I have to say. If I'm gonna actually have to win doing 200 damage at a turn, that's gonna take forever, and I doubt the game would let me do that. Alright. I'm gonna try this again. And I guess I can do this. Bring this back to the hand. And then activate this again to banish it again. Hmm. Do we have something worth summoning? I think we do. Let's see if this works. And this is one of these traps that's gonna just ask me every time to activate it. I feel like I'm definitely taking the first couple steps to understanding these style of cards. And it is nice that Yu-Gi-Oh! Kind of has these style of cards. Almost every card game, when they come out with a new expansion, does go in that route where there's a new concept and a significant portion of an expansion is around that new concept. And there have been clearly a lot of expansions in Yu-Gi-Oh! So that's what these scenarios are all about, is that at some point I assume there was an actual expansion. Guess we just set that as a trap and then continue to attack. I might win here. I hope I win here. There's no reason to waste time. Although I think it is also fair to say that a lot of the card expansions as they come out are so perfectly balanced that they are interesting and possibly a little bit game-changing for maybe a few months, maybe half a year, maybe even a year or two or three or four, but eventually they fall out of favor for something that is power creeped a little bit higher and that works a little bit better. Much like how the polymerization card and concept was an absolute game changer and awesome concept when Yu-Gi-Oh! First came out, and now it would be laughable to be playing a polymerization deck now. You definitely have to do something special to make that work. This can't be summoned, that can't be summoned. Yeah, so I just lost. And while you get a little bit of experience here, and for the sake of the recording, I'll let him beat me. I could have saved myself a few seconds by simply surrendering. Yeah, this level and XP system is broken, in my opinion. It just doesn't really relate to anything. It feels like it's just there because things like Hearthstone had it, and even the Hearthstone level system is kind of broken too, in that it doesn't really do anything. I guess this is a Twilight Sworn, not a Light Sworn. So I'm just going to start with this. Yeah. Ideally, with each level up, you would be getting either a massive amount of gems or a new deck to play with that would be a little bit more complicated, or just a bunch of cards. And that is something I would say that guess this is technically a light sworn card. I guess if it has Twilight in the name, it has light sworn. Yeah. Let's go and set this trap. Summon this. This special summon. I don't know if there's a real value in doing this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I think this is an effect I want to do. Yeah. Honestly, the game would have worked fairly well if it didn't have a player level, because the player level doesn't have anything to do with like the multiplayer rank. It just indicates how long you've been playing the game and how many times you've played a duel without there really being a reward there. So ideally, I would like to see the player level retroactively have more bonuses added to it, or some level of bonuses added to it, and the day one early players being rewarded with those bonuses retroactively, whether even if it is just kind of a random assortment of cards, which that is kind of all that Yu-Gi-Oh does right now, is it gives you random cards as rewards for playing multiplayer, or it gives you random amounts of less than 10 gems and crystals, which is not a lot. You're gonna have to play at least, I would say, 10 games if you are going to open one pack of cards, excluding the rewards you get from daily quests. The daily quests make up the difference there. Alright. See what this does. Special summon that face up. Special summon that face up. Alright. Banish 2 cards here, so we can get rid of this, and then I guess get rid of this. Now we've got Punishment Dragon being special summoned. Pay 1,000 life points, shuffle into the decks all cards in the graveyard or face up. Banish cards except light sworn monsters. 200 attack. Do we need that 200 attack? 5,000. No, I think we just win here. It's just going to ask me to activate that effect, but for safety's sake, I'm not going to do it. Just in case that somehow would mess up our victory. Yeah, not too hard. Whereas this is going to be the harder stuff. And again, it would be really ridiculous if I couldn't afford to unlock this gate. So let's give it one chance here. Oh, you sometimes also get these legacy packs, but these legacy packs seem to give you 2 new cards, mostly normal cards, that you don't own already. It may actually not care if you own the cards already or not, and it just gives you 2 legacy cards. That is a possibility also, but those card packs are deceptive in the fact that I have, I believe, somewhere around 250 of them right now, which would give me about 500 cards out of 10,000. Like 500 legacy cards, most of which, again, not playable. But I think that is the way of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that you are going to have a lot of cards that you've got to make the player feel good about owning a lot of cards and not realize that owning a lot of these old cards is very pointless. And that isn't just Yu-Gi-Oh! That's true for most collectible card games in digital or real-world forms. Although in the real world, if you have a lot of like first series Magic the Gathering cards, you have a lot of valuable cards that you could sell and trade. Whereas in the digital form factor, there is 0 value in owning old cards if they're not playable, because there's no trading in any collectible card game. And the idea of trading cards might be interesting, but it would probably devolve into something like Counter-Strike Go's knife skins very quickly, and it would just be something you really wouldn't want to engage with or waste your time on. Something full of a lot of fraud and nonsense. I very possibly got a bad deal here, so it might be worth it to try this again. And here they're showing us Judgment Dragon instead of Punishment Dragon. Yeah. Unless you can make this guy run out of cards, which maybe you can. See. See if this effect works. Let's steal one of his cards. Why not? And then while we're at it, we'll steal another card. And steal another card. And then we'll take this and stick it there. Okay. I should have activated that first, but whatever. That brought him back to 10. That was a mistake. I should have taken my own cards. Although I guess it doesn't seem like it's going to matter. I'm going to be down to 100. That was 5. Right. And yeah, if there was just some special way Judgment Dragon would have saved the day there. Unless he just stupidly does something that makes him discard a bunch of cards or not be able to attack this turn. Like, it's odd that this duel... Let's try that again. It's very odd that that duel was set up in such a way that he was about to run out of cards, if that's not the intended way. I like the Yu-Gi-Oh! In particular is kind of more hyper-focused on the idea of people running out of cards fairly quickly, whereas other collectible card games tend to have it so it would take way too long and just not really be worth the effort to even try to make a deck that was yeah. A lot of collectible cards are not, or CCGs are, that was stupid, are designed where you could never really deck your opponent. I thought I was destroying that card, but apparently not. This card must have had some savior to it. Take that. Put that face up. Summon that. Continue to see if this works. This would weaken this character by discarding a card. Two level 4 monsters. Could we take? It would be those two. So let's not do that. Attack here. Here. And here. He's at 30. I'm at 27. We'll see what happens here. I still feel like this Monster Reborn sound effect is very loud and arguably not very nice as far as the audio sound effect that it could be. I feel like it very possibly is just them using the sound effect from like the first season of the anime, when it would make more sense to just give it a new sound effect. Because nothing else makes such a loud, piercing noise. Alright. Guess we'll do this. Let's see. And I guess we'll activate this ability. What can we do here? I didn't feel like that accomplished too much. 22 versus 23. We were both burning through cards very quickly. Number 50, Black Ship of Corn. Let's see. Go ahead and destroy that. And that. Well, it seems like they're just gonna have to keep on hitting this until he runs out of cards that he can detach, which finally happened. 21 over 19. And then Blackluster Soldier. Feels like that would be nice to summon. Okay, so we'll select that one. And then we'll select that one. Once per turn, you can target one monster on the field. This card cannot attack with this effect. Can also attack twice in a row. So let's see. Direct attack. And attack. And that gives us the benefit of being able to see this other duel, which makes an argument to jump back and see if we can win this duel. Of course, this is just going to reward us with a little icon, which are useless, or some card packs. I'm not reading what these really say. There's probably some good hints of text there, but for most players, including me, I imagine you'll just start the duel and figure it out for yourself instead of spending the 2 minutes it would take you to actually read the description. And I have noticed it feels like there's at least 2 different types of decks that you end up playing against in each of these duels. So half the time you'll see somebody do one strategy, and in the other half of the time you'll see them do the other strategy. That makes a lot of sense. It's kind of a great idea, honestly, because then you're not trapping the player into a scenario where they have to win against a bunch of really difficult scenarios and strategies that, geez, how many do I have to banish? Can I just click cancel? Alright, so you do special summon this, and then you banish, I guess, a bunch of junk extra cards that just aren't gonna matter. 24, 19, 25, 22, 3,000. 3,000, 3,000, 25, 24. 25. And I guess now we have a confirm. I very possibly banished more cards than needed. I banished 7. See, once per turn, at the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster face down. Which, I think banishing something face down is probably a lot worse than banishing it face up. And the number of banished cards. Alright. So you attack this, and then that builds it up. But it feels like I would have wanted to banish everything in my extra deck and have this be a 15 going on 16. Yeah. Because what feels like is going to happen here is he's just going to summon anything basically and attack this. It's not like this can't be destroyed. And you have to start with banishing 5 things, so it's not like you could get this on the field by banishing 1 thing and then using its effect to slowly grow it. You can see this guy is doing a lot too. Everything has been turned into a zombie monster. Which that potentially creates a weird scenario. Pot of Desires. Banish a bunch of cards. Let's see what happens here. Well, all of a sudden that becomes much more doable. Let's see. Banish a monster. The Eater of Millions. destroy that card. Which then destroyed that card. Which really ruined that strategy, which feels like that was the main strategy here. I don't know what we can do to turn this around. Yeah, theoretically, if I was going to try and show off every single style of decks you play against, I'd have to show a lot of gameplays. I've got like nothing here. Like you do this, you do this. Yeah. We can set this. And that's pretty much it. Unless he draws a card that decides to tribute these 3 cards, or otherwise get rid of these 3 cards. I'm doomed. Well, certainly is doing a lot. But he has at least 26 attack at the moment. Yeah, I would say it's probably not worth trying to show a victory there. If anything, giving this a second chance and trying to show the other duel makes some sense, but if I fail here, or if I succeed here and fail on the next duel after this point, it will just finish the story. And certainly there is a question if another story will unlock or not. There might be another story that isn't visible, but I would also not be surprised if there isn't that. Do that. And then this is the one we would want sent to the graveyard. Which I guess means we want this. I think that means we want that on the field. Darn it. I was hoping I would have been able to activate the effect after it flipped. But no, so much luck. So I should have just activated the effect. I guess we'll activate that effect. Let's see, what do we want to destroy? Probably this card. Guys are gaining attack quickly here. Quite the strategy. Special summon 1-level dragon from your hand. We can do that. I guess we should do that. What in the world? That was a terrible thing to activate. That was awful. Alright, we need a spell. Need to hope that this spell works. Yeah, I literally can't do anything here. Just get rid of that. Yeah, odds are definitely not looking good that I'm actually going to be able to make it past this duel. I will eventually, certainly, but it'll probably take a lot of attempts, and there's no real rewards, no big rewards for doing that, doing it quickly. And it does seem like Konami is supporting Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I think they probably were a little surprised on how successful it was on day one, and so they do want to support it. They do want to continuously add content to it. They definitely launched it in what I would call a beta phase. And there's a lot of polish all over the place to improve. So yeah, I frankly have been fairly lucky to be able to do this duel, and this duel. Let's just end the story and we'll get this trap card. The Lightsworn cannot inhabit the world for long. This is a nice background image, but it kind of makes it feel like this character is more important than the other characters when they really aren't. They kind of do a decent job of making all of the different Lightsword cards seem like they're on the same level of importance. This is because they require enormous magical power in order to maintain their forms while in this world. Hence, as soon as the evil is destroyed, they vanish and raise back to the realm of light. Transcending time and space, their battles for justice never ceases. Again, they're using the same background, but it is only used in this one story a couple times, so it's not terrible. Some have honed their skills in the realm of light to receive new roles as enforcers of justice. The Lightsworn. See, this is kind of like a fairy character. I wasn't expecting rainbow colors as a color palette. The Lightsworn have great hopes that the people's hearts will be at peace. Hopefully one day the world won't need such enforcers of justice. Until that day comes, they will continue to dispense justice wherever it is called for. And they're using the phrase justice here in a very kind of simplistic, childlike manner, as if they 100% know what justice is to all people. Hey, I have found a new card pack, and typically when you do find a new card pack, you get a free card pack, but you only seem to get that either the first time you found a card pack or when you find a card pack by actually crafting cards. So there's this weird system where you should craft the cards you want to craft. If at that point it gives you a key that opens a secret card pack, at that level that's when you would you would potentially, what am I trying to say here? If you craft a card and you get a secret pack, then you'll get a free card pack draw. Then at that point, since you've already drawing, you would get those cards, or you would even decide to, say, open 10 packs. You still want to always open 10 packs because you're guaranteed at least one super rare, and if you don't get a super rare, then you're guaranteed an ultra rare in the next 10 pack draw, which is not particularly fair because that's not what it says, and it's a little dishonest. Perhaps that should be adjusted. It also kind of highlights how this secret pack system, which gives that 24-hour timer, is designed certainly to give you a sense of urgency. Yeah, I have 272 of these packs that only give you 2 cards also. They really want to get you addicted to the idea of opening card packs. But I am not going to do that because I'm saving up for when this rolls over and this rolls over as far as these selection packs, and for when, say, the new structure decks come out, which I don't know when a new structure deck comes out, but I imagine it wouldn't be more than at least a month from now. And at some point I may very well just choose to spend a little bit extra to get card backs, which they don't seem like they're going anywhere. Get card back protectors, get different fields, not that I'm particularly interested, even get these mates just to remove them from being there. There are 30 days as of this recording until the first Duel Pass ends, and these bundled deals, I assume at some point we'll get more of those, and those were the best deals. And yeah, that leaves no new solo player mode. So we can show this off, certainly. Each loner deck is different as far as these single player deck duels. And you're not getting any real instruction here. All you're getting is some old cards you should recognize if you've seen Yu-Gi-Oh! So, this card would give you polymerization, and let's see, start with that, discard that to the deck, get a polymerization. We are targeting something here that is definitely going to be part red eyes, part something else. Time Wizard, Effect Monster, Red Eyes, and a Warrior Monster. I think that's what we would be going. Unless we can get Red Eyes and Meteor Dragon, or Summon Skull. We can get Summon Skull or Meteor Dragon as our 2 options. Let's come back here. Which one attacks better? This is 3,500, and that's Meteor Dragon. And this is 3,200, so we will take Meteor Dragon. Then you activate that. That summons that by fusing these 2 characters together. And you can put these fusion monsters in these boxes, but they doesn't really do anything because these fusion monsters, these purple frame things, Like, you probably haven't even seen me play a purple framed card. Then we can just... This card is summon target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Oh, your opponent controls. Oops. I don't think there would be any reason to do that. Well, I certainly have played poorly with by playing this. And he just destroyed my card and did 1800 damage because of my own ineptitude and inability to read a card. But yeah, that one worked. 100 attack for each card you control. Bring that up to 1900. Only enough to do this. So suffice it to say, this is a good deck. It's just you're not getting that level of assistance, and without that level of assistance to tell you what to do or anything holding your hand, you're going to somewhat fail fairly quickly. If you play poorly. Whereas I've been able to make a lot more mistakes, as it were, when playing other decks. And like these decks, you play with completely different cards, and seemingly you didn't get that choice of going first or going second the first time you played. So this is a completely different deck. But it's still mostly the same idea. Trying to get Gaia the Fierce Knight on the field. Let's see. Do I have a Gaia? Yes, I do. If I reveal it, guess I can do that. Alright. So this lets me get more cards. And you're playing against a deck that is more centered around countering this deck at least a little bit. So, it's perfectly ultimate Great Moth. And I guess maybe I lucked out a little bit by getting 2 victories fairly quickly. Without a polymerization here. To just hope somehow this works. Finally got a Spiral Fusion, which, let's see, 26 one way, It gives you Spiral Strike. Let's do this. Please don't kill my guy. Alright, let's see if this works. I also have something here that would... Let's not activate that. I guess we do want to flip this into defense position because I think the Spiral Strike will do more damage that way. Interesting. I guess we'll get rid of Catapult Turtle. Do I want to attack that way? No. I don't think we do. Because this will do more damage. And put that trap down, and then we'll end on a victory. It is going to be slightly weird that every now and then I'll have to make another story mode episode as they add more story modes, but it's not a problem. Unlike Shadowverse, it's not a case where the next story mode is going to have any connection to this story mode we just covered. So there's no to be continues or long-running narratives that we have to remember. And it's not like it takes too much time. Like I've goofed around and turned this from what could have been slightly over an hour into an hour and 40-minute episode. Just gonna play that. Yeah, we don't think I need to activate anything. Yeah, let's activate this effect though. And just destroy it. Maybe I needed to destroy this card instead. Oops. Well, I may have been outplayed by just destroying the unknown instead of destroying the known. And I guess we won't end on a victory. Which ironically I think is probably pretty appropriate too. For any collectible card game, it does happen certainly. Where you have a lot of failure and minimal success. Unless this trap card can turn things around. That oddly did turn it around somewhat. Okay. And then I think we would want to activate this. Reveal that. To probably get this. Let's see if we can activate that. And then let's see if we want to activate that. Well, it should work. 1600 plus another 1600. It took longer, certainly, than I thought it was going to, but we did get to end on a victory. Of course, that really just gives you level and experience, which doesn't really give you anything. Like, the daily missions give you a reward every time you level up. A insignificantly small rewards. And I have no idea how many of these secret challenges actually exist. I have like 4 of them I'm working on. And plenty of these other unlimited missions just go on forever. It'll take months if not years. So yeah. Getting from level 21 to 22 will give me 50 gems. A really insignificant amount. Whereas back here, this did give me a structured deck when I got to level 10. And I was getting like 100 gems. It certainly starts to dry up as far as your rewards. It becomes smaller and smaller rewards the more you play. It really is not a lot between 22 and level 50. And some of these other rewards really don't matter either. But you still, and this is the most annoying part I would say of Yu-Gi-Oh! That I've found so far. Every day you need to log in to get that 20 gems, or and every day you need to spectate on this spectate element. Was it Duel Live? For usually you get about 5, maybe 8 gems for spectating, but it's still totally worth it because gems are hard to come by. I've never seen the gift box give you anything. They are being very good about adding notifications. In between the time of the last solo story and this solo story, they had a weekend festival, which was poorly designed, I would say, because it was over the weekend and it really would have required you to play for at least a full day, it felt like, of gameplay. At least a full 8 hours of gameplay to get all the rewards, and I did it, but I definitely did not enjoy a festival being that short and the reward scheme being so incredibly long. And I think that was echoed in the fact that there was some fairly obvious large amounts of bots during the XYZ festival that were just cheating in favor of letting other people win and killing themselves by doing as much damage to themselves as fast as possible. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. There's nothing else new to show. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I play ranked and talk about video game news. It's still been fairly difficult to do both of those things at the same time because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has that timer where if you don't play, you will just surrender and not get any experience or any rewards. So I'm still struggling with that, but I think I'll get better at that. You can see they do say new gates are coming as an announcement, so they expect that to continuously to be a focus for them as far as solo content. I still think I would enjoy a way to actually relive Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's a lot of different ways here. I wouldn't be upset if they just had a live stream of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cartoons, anime cartoons streaming here every now and then. Like, I wouldn't be upset if you, while you were playing in the corner somewhere, you could watch the Yu-Gi-Oh! Cartoon. But yeah, I doubt they would ever do that. And that's something that is definitely a value add that Yu-Gi-Oh! Can do that practically nothing else can do. Magic the Gathering doesn't have an anime, a long-running anime based on it. Hearthstone doesn't have a long-running anime based off of it. The second dinner collectible Marvel card game that is being developed. I mean, theoretically, there's a lot of Marvel cartoons and Marvel movies, but they wouldn't be able to get the licenses for those different properties and stream something like that. But even if they did somehow in a corner put in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, it would still be fairly hard to pay attention to playing the card game and watching the anime at the same time. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.